Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel and to the monthly wrap up of everything I coloured in September. I know these are some of the community's favourite videos and we have a lot to get through, so let's get into it. This month I managed to complete 37 pages. It was a month for me, which I'm very happy about. A lot of work in progress pages. And also I went away on holiday and I end up colouring a lot more when I'm away because I have such a limited selection of books. So I feel like it kind of pushes me to do a lot in these books. So yeah, it was a very productive month. So we're going to start with my Colouring Heaven pages. So the first two are from Vintage Costume. These are designs by Jasmin Darnell. This is the first I've coloured of her work. And we start off with the very first page, which is this gorgeous girl here. So I used washi tape for the clothing, which I love doing, and I love the effect of how this turned out. Doesn't stack the best, so there are some lines in these bigger sections, but in the small sections it works really well. And then I used a fine liner to re-add in the folds that I covered up and some polychromos to shade on top. I also coloured her skin with polychromos pencils. And the gold is my favourite gold ink, Liquitex acrylic ink in iridescent bright gold. And then I topped it with some rose gold glitter, which I felt just tied in with the page beautifully. So yeah, I really like how she turned out. And then we also did page number 8 in here, which is this girl here. I'm just trying to make sure I don't get any shadows or anything. I'm trying a bit of a new recording setup, which brings the camera in a lot closer, which is really great to see, but it does make some of these pages a bit hard to capture in their entirety. But the detail should be much clearer now, which is something that I was struggling with, so let me know. But yeah, this is the exact same. We used washi tape, polychromos pencils, a fine liner, gold acrylic ink, and there were touches of Posca in the eyes and stuff too for some highlights. But yeah, the colour of this was inspired by the tape a lot in this beautiful dark green and bright green. So yeah, very happy with how those two turned out. And then we have Free in the Gothic Beauties special. So this has got a collection of artists in here. So the first one I did is by Alchemy Carter, and it is Morte de Morgana. I'm probably mispronouncing that, and I do apologise. I'm not very good with names. But yeah, once again we used polychromos pencils, a gold metallic gel pen, and then just acrylic paint on the back, just to make her really pop. I really like that popping of the black and how that turned out, and also all the tones they managed to get in her wings and the colour of her hair. It's a really pretty bluey, purpley, black tone. And then also in this issue we did Dragon Mask by Sarah Richter. This one was very simply done. It is just Inktense pencils with a touch of the gold acrylic ink. But yeah, primarily Inktense pencils. Just lay it up, and just browns, pinks and gold as the three colours. Just kind of worked together. But for being so simple, came together so beautifully, and I really, really love how shiny the gold is, how warm it is, but cool. Yeah, I love Sarah Richter's work as well. And then the third one I did in here is Valandril. So this one, when I saw it, I kind of imagined that she could be a half orc, half elf warlock character for a D&D campaign. So I did her skin like greens with like touches of yellow highlighting through. And in her green horns with the yellow reflecting as well, and yellow in the eyes. Originally there was like a little fan thing here as well, which I painted over with the black. And unfortunately I didn't have my matte black when I was on holiday, so I used just like a standard acrylic paint, and it's got that vinyl shine from the paint, and you can see the brush textures. So yeah, I like my matte black a lot better. It's a lot more effective for doing the backgrounds without distracting. But yeah, really, really like how that one turned out. And makes me want to go and colour some more of Sarah Richter's work. I've got a bit of it between all the books. Right, I also did Free in the Strawberry Shortcake collection. So I didn't take this one with me on holiday, but when I came back I was very unwell and I spent quite a bit of time in bed, and this was some of my bed colouring. And it was very simple, but I really enjoyed it. So I started off with this one here, and we used the Crayola Super Tips to base the page, and then also do some subtle shading with it. And then I came in with my Polychromos pencils and a Posca marker to finish off all the details. And she's just so sweet. I really, really love how it came together. I was very, very pleased with it for being so simple. I think this took me less than an hour, to be perfectly honest. Like, it was a very quick colouring. But because I enjoyed it so much, I did another one using the same techniques. And then in the background, I didn't like put the markers down. I just used the pencil, so we would get that really subtle, not bright background. It kind of reminds me a lot of the actual books. But again, really, really enjoyed it. So we also did a third one. And yeah, I think this one's my favourite. I didn't go in with the Poscas on this one. I just left it like this. But yeah, I really like them. It was a lot of fun and I really enjoyed it. I didn't even go over the high with the pencils. I just left it as the felt tips. But, you know, I was happy with it. And that's the main thing. Alright, and then of course we have Fledgling Fairies. This has got designs by Karron. It is one of my most worked Colouring Heaven issues. And then using that same technique, I also did it in here. And there is actually a YouTube video of me colouring this one where I use the Crayola Super Tips. And I also get the little pipsqueak markers as well, which I use a little bit of for basing as well. And then same thing, Polychromos pencils. And this time I use Deco Art Glamour Dust for the shimmer on the wings and the eyes and the mouth. But yeah, really fun, quick technique. Similar to what I do with the alcohol markers, but it's not alcohol markers, but it does still bleed through, so it's not exactly an option for double-sided books. And then I also completed Over the Rooftops. Now this one's definitely not my best work, and I'm well aware of it. However, this one was an experiment with a particular type of paint that I wanted to try out. I got what I needed from the experiment, which was learning to work with the media and playing around. And I am very happy with how she turned out. I love how I got like the skin tone reflecting in here, so her dress looks translucent, and I like the shading detail I managed to get on her wings, although a lot of it's covered up by the enchanted shimmer. But yeah, definitely I could push this one further. I could make a darker sky, I could add in stars, I could add in more shading down here, make the houses look like they're glowing. And I have Christine Karron's artist quality book, so maybe if this image is in there, I'll do that in there. But for what I got out of it, I got what I needed. And that's the main thing. It was about the journey. Alright. Legends of Japan by Maud Lamoine. I love her portraiture. I love her eyes. They're just so stunning. But we have a very old work in progress in here, which I finally completed. So on my Twitch stream, my lovely, lovely community chose this one when I gave them a few options of what I could colour. So I had already based it in alcohol markers. And so we came in with Polychromos pencils and we finished off all the details. We used a bunch of Posca to do some detail work on it. And then I used the Enchanted Shimmer top coat on the flowers and the lips and the ears, you know, glitter. We love glitter. And of course the Liquitex gold acrylic ink for the golden details. And then a Inktense pencil has just been used in the background here. And I really love the colour scheme. I love the bright red here. I'm very pleased with how this one turned out. I think she looks really, really pretty, and I really like how it looks, especially with the black frame around it, which I believe is just Posca marker, maybe? Yeah, I think it's Posca. But yeah, really, really like it. I have a bit of a focus this month of trying to complete a bunch of work in progress pages. So there's quite a few old work in progress pages we completed, which is nice. But then there's also a bunch in newer issues, like this one, the Manga Fairies special with designs by Stenaira. I've never heard of this artist, and I had none of her colorings before I started this one. So that was like really cool. It's what I love about Colouring Heaven, is discovering all these new artists. And we did page 5, and this one is an autumnal fairy. So I'm in a little messenger colouring group chat, and we kind of just give ourselves fun little prompts every week to work towards, and this one is for our autumnal prompt, just colour something autumnal, which of course I'm in spring, so it's not really autumn over here, it's not fall here, it's spring, so it's a bit of an opposite for me, being in the opposite hemisphere, but it's still fun to colour. So this is alcohol markers, a little bit of Posca, polychromos pencils, there's also some washi tape. I love how this washi tape turned out, and then a gold metallic gel pen. And I kind of wish I could have taken the washi tape and used it in the background. I think that would have finished it off better. However, the tape did not stack, so that was not an option. I just did the green Posca to clean it up, but it's actually the wrong green. I probably should have used yellow. I don't have a brown. But yeah, I might come back and do something else here. I feel like this is a bit incomplete, but I'm not sure what yet, apart from just blocking it out with a colour. Alright, so that was all the Colouring Heavens I worked in. And then we have 2 of my no effort books. So these are books that I grab when I'm not feeling well and I want to colour, but I don't want to think. I don't want to put effort in. I just want to sit there and scribble with a pen. So I just grab out these. This time I used my Faber-Castell connector pens, which are just child felt tip markers, water-based soluble markers like the Crayola Super Tips. I just grabbed those because it was a small canister. It was easy to chuck in the bed with me. So yeah, we completed Pinocchio. This one has actually been I'd started and coloured Pinocchio a while ago, so I just finished off by colouring the rest of it. You can see like the colouring's not great. Again, I don't put effort into these. These are just my little downtime, relaxing, colouring just for the sake of colouring and having fun with it. Then we did Mickey and Friends. Again, this was another work in progress one that had been sitting there for a while. I coloured in Mickey and nothing else, so I went in there and finished off the rest of it as well. And then Zen Colouring, this is just like a pattern-y type magazine. I know, I've got 2 of these, I don't need any more of them. And yeah, this one is just alcohol markers. It's not even Posca or details work. I did think about going in there with Poscas or a little bit of pencil to shade, but nah, I was happy with it. I think it's like 5 or 6 alcohol markers, and I just used those colours repeated around. And I got what I needed from it. So yeah, these are just easy, relaxing books. My Disney stained glass colouring, and then Zen Colouring. Alright, Lulu Mayo. We have A Million Magical Mermaids. So I have this double page spread here. So this one I started on a live stream. I was experimenting with some watercolours that my friend Samsara owned, and just trying out different techniques in different areas of the page. And then I did this one and I really, really loved it. So then I put this aside and went and worked on a new page using the technique I had done here, which I can actually show you because it's in another book right beside me. So I love how that technique turned out, just placing random colours and then shading with the blue. It was really fun. It was a really fun experiment. But then, of course, I had this page with like half completed elements, and it was a bit odd. So I went in and just like, I'd done one section of water, so I went in and did some more water, for example. I added a little bit of pink to her hair, and then I went over with Posca marker and outlined all the hairlines in the pink, and added in a pink glitter gel paint to make her hair like shiny, and just added in like some details on these creatures. And I didn't shade it too much because it was mostly about the watercolor and how I achieved with the watercolor. But again, for an experiment page, I'm really pleased with how it turned out, and especially this shell. And I'm glad it's this shell that went so well, because it's kind of like the focal shell. So yeah, we did that one. And then we did one more in here. This one, yes. So I actually did this one on the bus trip back from Samsara's. It was polychromos pencils and Posca markers. And then I used Inktense pencils for the water. And a bit of Posca as well. Kind of like the jellyfish that look like they're wearing sunglasses because of the way the Posca eyes did. I'm not sure why I did the eyes like that. I probably should go over them with black, but also I kind of like that they look like they're wearing sunglasses. Maybe I'll just turn them into sunglasses, you know? They're just really cool jellyfish. But yeah, very simple and sweet, but a lot of fun and good entertainment on a long bus trip back, doing some rainbow seals. And then the book that I showed you the merm in before, that merm there, is A Million Magical Creatures, also by Lulu Mayo. And so we've done a little bit in this one. So I did this jar fairy one here. So that is Inktense in the background, and then polychromos for all the little creatures, and then Posca markers for like the galaxy effects, and Stickles glitter glue, which unfortunately went in way too thickly with, but I chose to outline these little bunnies so they kind of look like alien ghosties. And yeah, I really like how this one turned out. It's very much my colour scheme as well. It was a lot of fun. And then we have this adorable abominable snowman type creature. I'm not sure. It's fluffy and I love it. So once again, polychromos pencils. I took my polychromos pencils with me, so most of this month has been polychromos. And then I actually used acrylic paints in the background, which was really fun. And then when I got home, I used the Enchanted Shimmer top coat for the moon. And then, of course, Posca. Yeah, I think that was everything. Yeah, I really like how it turned out. And the background was a lot of fun to do, actually. And then we have our little witch here. So the witch was done with... Oh, gosh, I cannot remember the pencil name. They're no longer produced anymore. I got to try them out because Samsara had them. That's the great thing about going to hers, is she lets me try out all her media, so I try out a bunch of different supplies. They blend like Prismacolors, but they feel like chalk pastels. That's the only way I can describe them. If I can remember what the name is, I'll either put it in the comments or I'll put a little thing in the video to say what the name is. I'm drawing an absolute blank. But yeah, it was really fun to experiment colouring with them. And then of course, she has gorgeous blue hair, and I had these star sequins, and I was like, I'll just stick them on the page, because I was like, it needs something else. So, yeah, I really like how that one turned out, and I love my little blue stars. It's going to make the page behind a bit more difficult to colour, but that's okay. And it's perfect for coming up to October. And then the final one in here is our little fairy friend with the frogs being serenaded. This is actually a buddy colour with the wonderful Colouring Bumblebee, our monthly buddy colour. I really like her version as well, which I'll make sure I put up for you to see here. But for my version, I used Karlzon water-soluble pencils. I believe that's what they are, the new pencils that I found to try out, and they worked okay. And then I came in with some polychromos to shade. there is, of course, Posca, Stickles. There's the iridescent top coat that I've been using a lot this month. I think that's everything I used. I think I might have used some Prismacolor as well to help shade. Like, there's a lot of pencils thrown at this page. But yeah, I love her hair. Her hair is my favourite thing. I wish I could have that type of hair. I had something similar once, but not quite like that. Though I do love my blue hair, don't get me wrong. I got a reminder on Facebook that it's been 8 years since I started colouring my hair. Yeesh. Alright, Hanna Karlzon Summer Nights. Now, I have not done a lot in this book, so it was really nice to go on a bit of a run in this book and do a bit this month. So, I had done this introduction page, and then I'd started the mushroom. I just went round it with Posca. I'm not counting that as a completed page. It was essentially completed. I just went round it in Posca to make it pop a bit more. But what I did work on was the title page. So the purple was already done, and that was Inktense pencils. And then I came in with Prismacolor pencils and the Deco Art metallic paint pens in rose gold and gold. And just finished off the page. And it was really nice because this has been sitting for ages waiting for something. But I really didn't enjoy how the Prismacolors worked in this book. It's just not my personal thing. I prefer polys over Prisma. I like a harder pencil I can layer. It's just personal preference. But there are times that Prismas work brilliantly. But yeah, I was like, okay, well, I kind of enjoyed this, but I want to try my polys. So I grabbed my polys and I did the next page. And I definitely enjoyed certain aspects of this one more. Doing all this fine detail was way easier with the polys because I could get the sharper pencil. But then, like, it could have been better to have the Prismas for the skin tone. Like, yeah, again, there's pros and cons to both pencils. I'm not saying either's, like, one's better than the other. It depends on your colouring style. Depends on my mood for the day as to what pencil I prefer. And then once again, we have the Deco Art Enchanted Shimmer for the stars as well. And then, yeah, for this, I think I just used... No, this one is... Sorry, this one is still Prismacolor because I was trialing... Because that's Black Cherry. This is still Prismacolor. Yes, I'm remembering this now. My gosh, sorry. This is when I was quite unwell. This is me trying again, but trying a different... Like, this one I was going very hard and almost burnishing. So this one I was trying not to burnish and be lighter. And then I had done that, and then I was like, let's try it again with Polychromos, which I enjoyed a lot more. Sorry, I'm remembering now. But yeah, so after I completed this one, I moved on to the Polychromos ones, and that's where I got a lot more control and finer detail, and I preferred the process a lot more. And I was like, okay, I prefer my polys in here. And then I also grabbed out my Inktense for the background and used the same Enchanted Shimmer top coat just in like spots in the background to give it a little bit of shimmer, as well as these little pearls around here. And yeah, everything I've coloured in here so far has basically been pink, purple, blue and green. Like, we're doing that sort of combo, it appears, and I don't mind. But yeah, once I'd done this one, then in my colouring chat group, we had the challenge to do a free pencil colouring. We only have free pencils. And so I was like, okay. And then I just flipped to the next page and coloured the lotus, the grasshopper. So this one I use Polychromos in emerald green. I want to say like cobalt blue. And then the Payne's Grey or Cool Grey 6 were my free pencils. And I just layered them to get different shades and stuff like that. And then I did paint the background black and use the Deco Art metallic silver just to add a little bit more to the page. But for free pencils, I really like how this came out. And I went from having one completed, one work in progress, and that little mini mushroom to having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 completed pages in this book this month as well. So yeah, it was quite a good little run of Hanna Karlzon. And you may notice that some of my books are starting to have the baking paper protection sheets in there. We will discuss it when we get to Mythomorphia. Not all of them. I got a lot of books. We got a lot of books to do it all in. Right, the Critical Role Vox Machina. We went in and we finally finished Keyfish. This one had been a bit of a disaster page for quite a while. I used alcohol markers to base it, and then when I put the glitter paint on top for the water, it caused it to like bleed all down the side here and bleed through to the next page here. It also got caught and we've got a little rip in the bottom, which is really annoying. So the whole page has kind of been a bit of a disaster, which put me off not only coming back to this, but also working in the book. So I kind of sat myself down and forced myself to figure it out. So one of the things I did was change her eyes, because I originally coloured where it's white black and where it was blue white, and it looked like Soulless Void. So I switched that around, and then I used my Poscas and went over all the lines just to make the water lighter, and I really like it because now all your focus is here, and I feel like it's a lot more effective now. So it's not my greatest work in the world, but we managed to save the page, which is the main thing, you know. And now I feel comfortable to work in this beautiful book and actually do a proper page. Right, another long-term work in progress that I completed is from Johanna Basford's Worlds of Wonder. And it's this floating island one. So this is another one from well before February. It was in my complete collection tour. So I'd started the island with Faber-Castell classic colour pencils, which is like not artist quality pencils. And then, so I finished off colouring that, and then I grabbed my distress ink and my cloud stencil, and I did all the clouds in the background. And then I grabbed my Kaisercraft shimmer spray and added that all over the clouds. So it could be like cloud mist. It could also be bubbles from these fish that are flying past. And of course, there's a little touch of Posca on the flying fish. Yeah, it's shimmery, not too glittery, and really, really fun. And I love the flying fish. I don't know, the flying fish just make me very happy. And again, another long-term work in progress completed. I am trying to get through all my old work in progress pages and not start a new page in any book that has a current work in progress page. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Right, so now we've got Cute and Creepy by Camilla D'Erico. And I did this massive double page spread in here of the merm and the eels. So I used inks, Derwent Inktense pencils and Polychromos for the creatures. And I was really playing around with light and having like blue on the side and yellow on the other. It's influenced by a page that I'm colouring for my Patreons. And then we used a bright pink Posca marker to outline, which I just thought was a really fun contrast. I don't know, the pink makes me really happy. It's not the most logical, but I like it. And then for the background, I originally had painted it with acrylic paints, but you can kind of see some of the texture in the lines. It was like really translucent and horrible and textural, and I didn't like it, so I just grabbed out the Deco Art Enchanted Shimmer top coat thingamabob and just put that everywhere, and it's so shiny, it's so shimmery, and I like how that turned out. But of course it gets a protection sheet now. So yeah, that was from Cute and Creepy by Camilla D'Erico. And then we have Nature Mandalas. And this is by Melpomeni, Chatzipanagiotou. So the first one I have in here is this African animals page, I believe. It took so long to black out all the background on this page, but so worth it. It pops so much, although my lights are making it really clear that it is actually two different pens here, because I used a fine liner in here and an alcohol marker out here. Depending on the light in real life, you can't actually tell as much. And then as well as the fine liner and the alcohol marker, I also used a silver metallic gel pen and my Polychromos pencils, Karlzon, and I was really trying to limit my colour palette to greens and browns and then verging out from browns a little bit into reds, orange and yellows, but really kind of greens and browns and a little touch of red to go with the silver. So yeah, I really like how it turned out. I'm not a fan of mandalas, but I really love this Nature Mandalas book. I feel like they're different enough that I really enjoy doing them. The other one that we completed in here is the Rainbow Mushies and Snails, which this is the trip and I love it. I love how rainbow and bright this turned out. So this is again all polychromos pencils and then a little touch of a glitter gel pen, which I used on that center flower cluster and then also on the snails themselves. And yeah, so everything is basically a rainbow blend. It's as many rainbows as I could get into the page because I like rainbows. It's very hard to try and get this without getting light reflections and show you everything. So right, so then we have Mythomorphia. So if you've watched my previous flip throughs, you would know that initially I had a goal this year to complete this book. But because I took a couple of months off for health reasons, I fell behind and I don't want to rush. I tried rushing some pages and I hate how they turned out. And because I rushed a page, I also have some of the biggest disaster pages to, to clean up, which is this page here, where the pages have actually stuck together and ripped. Hence why everything also now gets this baking paper. So yeah, I have slowed right down in Mythomorphia. I still do want to complete this book. I still have done well over 50% of the book. And considering where we started at the start of the year, which I think was like 17%, or 17% in February, it's still quite a bit. So to go from 17 to, I think we're at 54%, still quite a massive amount of completion, and I'm happy with it. But again, I don't want to rush. I feel like rushing is what's kind of ruining some pages and the experience for me. Something I realized this month is that I slowed down on a lot of pages and I enjoyed it a lot more. So I'm trying to make myself slow down, although it may not look like it because I have so many pages completed. But again, I did a lot of work in progress pages where there was not much left to complete. So it looks like a lot, but it's not a lot. Like this one here. So the Siren. So I started this one quite a few months ago. I protected the page with gesso and then I used Crayola Super Tips, but I would colour in on a chopping board and then pick it up with a brush and apply it like a watercolour paint, which is really fun, except because of the gesso, this did not settle down well. And so when I went to add in other colours on top, it just kind of bled everywhere. It didn't really settle into the page and stick in place like it does when I use the acrylic ink in this technique. It's like, oh, that's not really working. And so I just left it for a while, and then I pulled out my inks and watercolours one day and I was like, I'm just going to place it everywhere on the page. And I did, and it kind of spread out in a few places and it bled out the colours that were already there. But it created this weird, bubbly, watery effect. And it looks like she's underwater. And I was like, oh my God, I love it. I can't touch it until I figure out a way to shade and make her pop without ruining this effect. Because frickin' heck is it cool. So I sat on it for quite a while. And then I was looking at the page again, thinking about how I could do this. And then I realised I had the answer all along, which was to use the Crayola Super Tips, but as the felt tip markers they were intended as. So I made sure to grab colours that weren't like as close to as possible, and just do like little bits of shading, like not a lot, just a little bit of lines or dots, or and particularly if the colour was like quite translucent and very near the original colour, just like centre up here, like the yellow, like really trying to build it up lightly and just in small amounts so that we captured all that beautiful accidental wateriness that was created. So I have no idea how to reproduce this effect if I want to reproduce this effect, but I love how it turned out. And then of course Posca for the bubbles. I don't even have any glitter on here. I might have to add glitter just because there's glitter on every other page of Mythomorphia. But also we have a ring here, so I could just add a little dot there and call it done. Or some into the treasure chest or something, you know. Easy to add in, but very, very pleased with how this is done. And that's my only Mythomorphia for the month. Because again, slowing down. So we ain't doing 6.3, I think was what I had to do previously before the break. Oh, but this book is so chunky with all the loose pages. And now all the baking paper in there because of that destroyed page. Mythomorphia is chunky. Alright, and then we have Alien Worlds. So I actually started quite a bit in Alien Worlds during my break, which is what made me sort of realise I needed to step away from Mythomorphia, because I fell in love with Alien Worlds, which made me realise I was kind of burnt out on Mythomorphia and I needed a break from it. So, yeah. But we've got a number done. In fact, I have completed the entirety of the Air Kingdom. So for those that haven't seen my Alien Worlds, each planet has a colour scheme, and we follow that colour scheme throughout. So you'll be able to see very clearly each planet's story. So the Sky Kingdom is yellows. So we finished off this massive double page spread. This is all polychromos pencils, Posca, and then this is the Deco Art glitter gel. And then I also, so you can see the same colorway there and there. I also completed this one as well. And once again, it's the same polychromos, Posca, and then this one this one still uses the Deco Art glitter gel paint. This one does have the metallic gold gel pen though. I did do those details in metallic gold. But yeah, that is the entirety of the Air Kingdom completed, which is really cool because now like a whole planet is completed. I've got a couple work in progress pages in here. I'm still working on my Crystal Kingdom. Like the Crystal Kingdom's one of my favorites. I did do a little bit more on the Crystal intro page. I've still got to go over that black and add another layer in, but we did get a bit more of the crystals done. Still a while to go, but at least we got some of the crystals done. And yeah, this, I think that's all been shown as finished off. And then we've still got 2 more in there. And then I made a start on the Water Kingdom, but not a lot. But that might be quite good to work on for October. So yeah, that was Alien Worlds by Kerby Rosanes. And then another Kerby that we finished off. And oh my gosh. Worlds Within Worlds. This work in progress, I suspect, has been in progress for at least a year and a half, if not longer. And oh my gosh, am I pleased to have finished it. I love it. I love it so much. And that's the Dragon Eye. And I freaking love how this one turned out. It took a long time, but it was worth it. It was so worth it. And I'm just very pleased with the outcome. You're getting a lot of shine though. So this one uses Prismacolor pencils and then a Posca in white and black. These scales are actually done only with 4 colours. The black, I think it's like chocolate brown. It's a very dark brown. And then there's like forest green or emerald green. Sorry, I don't know the Prismacolor colours off by heart like I do my Posca, my polychromos pencils. And then the green, the light green is like light sage green or something. It's 4 colours for all the scales, which I'm very pleased about. And then in the eye, I did debate for a while because I've seen a lot of people who have like fully done the eye as a proper eye and haven't done the city, and I really liked the effect of having a pupil in there, but I also didn't want to lose the city because I liked the idea that the dragon was going to attack this city, but I didn't want to lose the pupil. But then I realized that there's like a little window here that was kind of the center of the eye, and it kind of worked for a pupil, and so I used that. I ended up going a bit bigger because it needed to be a bit bigger, but I feel like we've got the effect of a dragon eye with the pupil without losing too much of the city, which I'm very happy about. Even if my Poscas did threaten to explode everywhere while doing this and just about ruined it with the Poscas. But yeah, oh, so happy with this one. Surprisingly, not my favourite, although it's a very close contender. I do love it. But my absolute favourite for the month is by Kanuko Ego-sa from Kingdom of Curious Creatures. And this is a page that taught me that it's okay to slow down. It's okay to take your time. It's okay. Because if you produce what you love, it's worth it. And that's this gorgeous little field mice page. This entire thing is done in polychromos pencils. I usually grab like Inktense or markers or something and try to slap down color as quickly as I can on a page and then do some shading and try and breeze through a page. But this one, I slowed down, and this is the second time that I've worked solidly only in pencils in this book, and I really enjoy the process. So I'm not against doing something different in the backgrounds, but it did show me that slowing down is good. So this one I did complete over the whole month, and I did start and finish this month. In fact, you can see me work on the mice in a YouTube video as well. And yeah, it's kind of experimenting with doing a bokeh style background. It's not bokeh, but it's pretty and I like it. But there's definitely going to be a focus from me moving forward of slowing down and enjoying the process, because it makes the page more enjoyable, which may mean in future months there's not as much. Now, I do still have a bunch of work in progress pages that don't need much to finish them, like I worked on this month. There's still, I think, 41 from memory. And like, I know at least 10 of them each require less than an hour of work. There's a lot of nearly completed pages. So I might still have months that seem like I do a lot, but I am going to still kind of try and make an effort of slow down and put details in that I enjoy and enjoy the process a bit more. I think that was one of the biggest things I learned from the break, was that I just need to slow down and enjoy it. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed seeing my completed work in progress pages, completed pages for September, sorry. I would love to hear from you, not only what page you loved from all my completed pages, I know there was a lot, but also what you've been working on and what you've enjoyed working on this month. And have you learnt anything like I did? Have you, for you, is it more important to produce a number of pages or to enjoy the process of the page? Like, do you prefer to have quantity, or, I don't want to say quality, but more like a journey? Is it the journey or is it the outcome? I don't know. Let me know what you think down below. I'd love to hear from you. And in the meantime, make sure you hydrate, take your meds if you need to, and love yourself. I will see you all in the next video. Bye!